Good morning, everyone. Once again, this is Blackforexgroup coming to you with another market analysis video. This morning, we're going to be looking at USDCHF. Okay. Now, before we get started to break down this Forex pair, we have to state that this video is for educational purposes only. This is not financial advice, but we all know why you guys are here. You guys are here to try to find good, credible Forex content to help improve your ability as a trader and to help put some money in your pocket, especially in these troubling times. Okay. So, with that being said, let's go ahead and see what we can do to help with that, right? Now, as you know, Black Forest, what we like to do or we break down the technical analysis, we like to break down fundamentally what's going on with each of the currencies. So let's start with CHF. Okay. Now, last week, going to the latter part of the trading week, last week we did have some poor news come out about the CHF that we classified as weak, and then also, the Swiss franc is also suffering from inflation. Its economy is also suffering from inflation as well. And on top of that, it's also suffering from the overall FUD, which is fear, uncertainty, and doubt going on with the entire European continent's economy related to related to the Russian-Ukrainian war being fought on the European continent. Okay, so it has those three factors working against it that is also making this on the outlook. It's so far at the beginning of this trading week, one of our weaker currencies. Okay. Now the USD, it is. I'm not going to say it's one of our stronger currencies, but it is stronger than the CHF. We're going to have to see how the increase in the interest rate is actually going to go about combating inflation and how aggressive is also combating the inflation too. Because if it's combating the inflation and it's not combating it as aggressively as they thought, that can make the USD also start performing as weak. But initially, at the beginning of this trading week, I is look to believe that it's going to be showing some type of strength. Okay. So we're gonna have to see how that plays out, and we won't really know until the latter part of this trading week, or possibly the next couple trading weeks to come, to see how this increase in interest rate is it actually going to improve the strength of the USD, or is the USD going to maintain the weakness from the inflation that's still hanging over it that we've been dealing with over the past couple of trading weeks, several trading weeks. Okay, now that we get that out the way, let us discuss what's going on in the chart. Okay, so, all right, we've been consolidating for quite some time, at least 45 days plus, before we had this breakout towards the long position side. Okay, and then we started to actually go down some. Okay, we actually started to go down some. Now, this is kind of pretty typical because we broke out and we went down. And remember, like I said, charts are not unilateral. So, you break, you go up, you go down. This would be considered like your high, and this would be considered like your high low area. Okay, so it looks like we're going to continue to go up towards the long side unless we have some significant fundamental shifts. And when I'm looking for what I mean by significant fundamental shifts is that being that we're dealing in basically a global inflation now, with basically all the major G8 countries are suffering from inflation, and then we have instability in the one of the major world markets, which is in Europe due to the Russian-Ukrainian war. We're not going to be looking at so much which currency is going to be stronger than the other, so much which currency is going to become much, much weaker than the other. Okay. So as long as CHF remains weaker than the USD, then we will continue to go up. Okay. But if the USD becomes weaker than the CHF, we will continue to go down. Okay, but the more probable situation is probably going to be the first one we discuss, with the CHF being weaker than the USD, because the USD did have its interest rate raised, and that's going to somewhat play out at least in the beginning part of this trading week or for the remainder of this trading week. Okay, so this will most likely be going for a long position. Okay, once we get to this area here, we may start to hesitate and go down a little bit on some choppy movements before we start aggressively going up again. But this is more so looking like we're going to be going for a long position with this, for at least for the initial part of this trading week. Once we get some more economic news to come out during this trading week, we can get a better idea of the sense of where it's going to go. But at least for the beginning part of this trading week, it looks like we're going to be going for the long position. With this is our initial breakout. This is our high area. This is our high lower area, and we'll be continuing to go towards the long side. Now, as I stated, if the USD becomes much weaker than the CHF, then we will possibly go back into our consolidation area. Okay, but the more likely scenario is that we will continue towards the long side due to the CHF being much weaker than the USD. Okay, I hope that information was helpful for you guys. Happy trading.